And joining us now, Caroline Fourest, who was a journalist at the satirical magazine for years. Thanks for joining us. Our thoughts, of course, go out to all your friends there, the survivors and families at Charlie Hebdo. What do you think of issue number 1?
I think it's good to see people buying newspapers. And of course, more than that, because they do it to support the spirit of Charlie Hebdo. They do it to support freedom of speech and the right to do blasphemy. So definitely, yes, of course.
The right to do blasphemy. What did you think of the issue itself? Was it faithful to the Charlie Hebdo tone?
Of course, it's a secular miracle. I mean, the way my colleague found the strength, the bravery to do it, no matter what the pain they were on, no matter the tornado around them, it's definitely a secular miracle.
A secular miracle. Now, in Turkey, a local court ordering a ban on all websites that show the front page cartoon of the prophets. This as one paper, the staunchly secular Cumhuriyet, putting out a selection of the cartoons, hitting the stands after a police inspection at the printing plant from Cairo to Tehran. The cover of Charlie Hebdo sparking condemnation in the Middle East and beyond. Kedevan Gorgistani.
It's a cover seen around the world. A weeping prophet holding a Je suis Charlie sign under the headline, "All is forgiven." And in true Charlie Hebdo form, the cartoon of Muhammad has stirred anger among some Muslims.
If they publish a cartoon of the Prophet, it will be burned again. These are religious symbols that no one should touch.
Iran, who strongly condemned the deadly attack on Charlie Hebdo last week, criticized the magazine for once again provoking Muslims.
We condemn these provocative actions. We consider that this publication is insulting because it hurts the feelings of Muslims worldwide and can create a vicious circle of extremism in the world.
She added that this was yet another example of the West abusing freedom of speech, and the new cover has added fuel to the debate.
Freedom of speech doesn't mean you have the right to offend the Prophet when you know that it will provoke Muslims. I'm not against freedom of speech, but they should not offend.
For the first time ever, Charlie Hebdo will be available online in Arabic. A selection of cartoons were also published in Turkey as a 4-page insert in Cumhuriyet, a center-left paper. But even they admitted they had left out some cartoons deemed too offensive and relegated the cover itself to a subsection of the paper.
Caroline Fourest, there are cultural quid pro quos here over what's okay and not okay to publish. What are your thoughts when you see the way the rest of the world has handled these cartoons?
First of all, the cultural quiproquo is not only with Iran or Turkey, it's also with UK and with USA, because my dear American or English colleague who were after us for 1 week to ask, what is the cover of Charlie Hebdo? What is the cover of Charlie Hebdo? Don't show it today by fear and not to offend what they call Muslims or what they thought is Muslims.
You say it's fear, but in the United States, the First Amendment is freedom of speech, but also freedom of religion. And
the cover of Charlie Hebdo is not offending freedom of religion at all. This is where we have definitely different criteria of the limits for freedom of speech. In France, we do consider that incitement to hatred, that means saying that the Muslims are all bad, or all this one, all this, all this. This is something you can be condemned for, and I'm very happy with it, because Charlie Hebdo is an anti-racist newspaper and never incite to hatred. But you are free to criticize symbol, to criticize dogma, to criticize ideas, and this is part of a secular democracy. And when some democratic newspaper, democratic countries refuse to show cartoons because they fear the reaction of some terrorists, of some fanatics, it is exactly like when Hollywood do not want to show a film because Hollywood is afraid to shock North Korea. It's just quitting our basic principles. It's just applying the criteria of dictatorship, of fanatics and terrorists inside democracy. It's just the worst enemy we've got today.
But what do you say to people who are offended by those cartoons in France and who might feel further stigmatized?
But they can't. No. Stigmatized is because they don't see the cartoon or they don't want to look at it. Because this Mohammed who is crying on what happened and who say, I'm Charlie, is a Mohammed who actually give them back their dignity after what those jihadists did in the name of Islam. They can be offended. Everyone can be offended in life, but they don't have the right to close newspaper, satirical newspaper for that. They can look in another direction. They are not forced to say it is a provocation after what happened in Charlie Hebdo, because what is a provocation actually, what should offend them is that crazy guys are killing in the name of Mohammed. And can we remind that Muslim friend of mine was reminding me that the most sacred principle in Islam is not to sanctify as an idol Muhammad. And today those people who don't not even know their culture, their philosophy, are doing exactly what is forbidden. And plus, they are really justify in somehow the act of the terrorist.
Caroline Fourest, one final question. In your books, you pull no punches when it comes to religion and Islam. You also pull no punches.
All religion.
You also pull no punches when it comes to the French far right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel, after the big march on Sunday, after the public reaction that we've seen so far, the show of unity at the National Assembly on Tuesday, that the French will work on living together in a better way? Or do you feel that this country will be more divided than ever?
I just can tell you that we are all going to fight for living together in a secular democratic system, to keep it no matter what. I know my friend, my dead colleague, was really both afraid by the risk of being killed because of the Islamists, but also by the risk of seeing one day a nationalist and xenophobic government in France. And if that spirit of Charlie Hebdo can be a protection for all of us, to avoid this both danger, the danger of terrorism and the danger of voting for people who are using this fear to kill our liberties in the name of nationalism, that will be the best way to think about them. And I'm very confident that the National Front will be very in difficulty those days because again, the spirit of Charlie Hebdo is there to protect and to continue on this path who can be useful for the rest of Europe, being in the same times anti-racist, protecting the Muslims from the racism, and in the same times being what we are, a secular democracy who resist to fanatics by sense of humor, which is the most sweet and in the same times the most powerful weapon.
All right, Caroline Fourest, former journalist at Charlie Hebdo, thank you for being with us here on France 24.